All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Wes Moore. Glad you're with us tonight for another edition of More Sports. Going to be a big night. We're going to name our team of the week, and Brad Harris, Benton Panthers, will join us. Put up 87 points this past weekend. Huge stats, big win. And we'll hear from Coach Harris in just a bit. And we're also going to talk some Razorback football and some Sylvan Hills football. We got a former Razorback with us, Jarius Wright, coach at Sylvan Hills. Let's bring him into the show. What's up, Coach? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. So I'm curious, do the kids, they call you Coach Wright, Coach
Coach
Jarius?
Wright, Coach Jay Wright, whatever works.
How long did it take you to get used to that?
Um, I think I'm really just now getting used to it, being a coach and everything that comes with being a coach. But you know what? The journey has been fun.
What led you to coaching?
It's kind of funny because I had just retired out of the NFL, and Ryan ended up getting a job at Whitehall, and he knew that I wasn't working, and I had just retired, and he was like, "Hey, man, just come down here one day, and just give it a shot. You don't have to do it, if you don't want to." And he had already, he knew me, he knew I would love it, so he got me down there, and next thing you know, I was coaching with Ryan.
How often do you think about him on the football field, coaching, or he playing, or whatever? How much is he still in your mind?
I think about him all the time because, he's the guy that got me into coaching. So I felt like that, God brought us together that last year for a reason, and I got it, and he got me into coaching for a reason. So I feel like I'm doing the right thing.
And he have a big impact on the way you coach?
He definitely had a big impact on the way I coach. Like I say, he's one of the first coaches I had the opportunity to work for. So I learned a lot of, my stuff and some of my coaching philosophies from Ryan.
Do you enjoy coaching?
I love coaching. It still gives me that football feel, the same feeling that I got being on the field, but just getting a chance to develop and teach young kids, just things they don't know, not only about football, but just about life and being young men.
Do they pull you up on YouTube? They look at your highlights?
They always see it's TikTok now. Hey, Coach Wright, you were on TikTok, and I don't have TikTok, so I don't really get to see it. But they always tell me that they see me on TikTok all the time.
You're not to that point where you have to tell them how good you were back in the day. They still know. They still see it.
Oh yes, sir. Well, that's the good thing about technology. They can always just go to YouTube and type my name in, and they see my Arkansas highlights, and then just being in the NFL, they respect just the fact that I even made it to the NFL, even though I played 8 years.
Well, speaking of Arkansas, I got to wonder what went through your mind the day you heard Coach Pittman had been let go and Bobby Petrino was taking over as interim head coach.
Well, it's always I would say a sad time, but it's always kind of a bad time when a coach gets fired. I definitely understand that part of it and that aspect of football. But to see Bobby Petrino get another opportunity, it made me happy. Happy for him, happy for the state because I know that basically another guy that loves the state of Arkansas and that I know that'll do anything for the state. And I know that he's going to give it his all to not only keep the job, but get Arkansas back where it needs to be.
Jarius, the big question last week, we talked it on the radio on the buzz. It's just how would they react to him? Because that's a
Mhm.
lot of change for a college kid, a lot of adversity to have your head coach fired, DC, your defensive back coach, defensive line coach. How would this team respond last week? And it was very intriguing to me. And that was one of the big reasons I watched the game. What were you thinking? Did you know how this team would respond through all that with Coach Petrino leading the way?
Just knowing Coach Bobby, um, I almost say he requires you to be great, but he's going to get the most out of everyone. And that's he has his way of doing it. I don't really know how he does it, but he has a way of getting the best out of everybody, just like I knew he would. And I think the team came out and played pretty good, and they played hard for him. I think that was just kind of some of the things that I watched for, just to see if we would give up when we got down, or how hard the team would play for them. And I felt like they came out and they played really, really hard for them, especially given the circumstances. And the thing with this day and age in football is it's always an interview. Uh, whether it's for this school, or whether it's for this job, or whether it's for the next school or the next job.
Can you be unbiased about who you would like to see be the next head coach for the University of Arkansas?
I really don't think I can.
So it's an
just being
easy
honest.
choice for you.
Is of course we know I got to stick with my man Bobby.
What about his coaching style? Is there things that you took from him that you use?
Just demanding every play, be every play you go 100%. That was one thing that Bobby always taught us. Just go full speed, even if you mess up going 100 miles an hour. So that's just some things that I try to instill in my kids. It all starts with playing hard. That's just my opinion, of course. But that's just something I learned from Bobby.
When you're watching their offense, is it still familiar? Do you see things that you know?
It's definitely still familiar. Of course, he had, the game changes a little bit, and in order to be a good offensive coordinator, you got to be able to change with the game. But at the same time, there still is a lot of familiarity with some of the things he does that we did back then. He just finds a different way to do it, and of course, with different people.
People like to talk what a great play caller he is, and how he'll set up plays that he can use differently later in the game. Do you have a good example of that? Something you remember back in the day of something he did?
So Bobby, man, he studied the game so much. One of the things that he used to do that I remember is he would motion the guy just to get you in the coverage that he wanted you in, and then we would have the play call to beat that coverage already. So we just kind of knew we were going to score 7 to 14 points just off Bobby dialing stuff up, and then all the other points would just come with all the playmakers we had.
Remember the Memphis game, that first touchdown? Was that a play you're talking about? Just he had that set up. That they knew that was going to be a touchdown to the tight end. He'd be wide open.
Exactly, and you see a lot of them on the first drives. Bobby comes out swinging on the first drives, and he has his first 10 to 15 plays that he likes to call and likes to stay on script with those plays. And I think that you can kind of tell that those plays are scripted by the way that we move the ball down the field, usually on the first drive.
So you don't have any doubts, really, what the rest of the season's going to be like. Did you see enough out of Tennessee to feel like they're going to just keep getting better and better and finish the season strong?
I really believe that we will see a new Arkansas team the rest of the year. I believe that they're going to play hard. I know that Bobby's going to make them practice hard, and they'll get better. I know I listened to one of Bobby interviews, and he just said, basically we're going to get back to the basics, and the guys they're going to meet different, they're going to practice different. And I know what he means when he says that. Just back to, I know what that looks like, and and it'll make you a better player because of it. And I truly believe in this system. It was a system that I was in for 4 years, and it helped me become who I am today.
Do y'all talk still?
I still do talk to him. I have his number. I'll text him. I'll call him. He still takes care of me when I need him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jarius, and Jarius, by the way, is at Sylvan Hills now. And how long have you been at Sylvan Hills?
This is my 3rd year now.
Wow. So we were talking about, and Coach Kelly came on the show. He was part of the Sylvan Hills team of the week, their first win over Maumelle. That was a great game, a goal line stand, stopped the 2-point conversion. Well, you were there, but anyway, he was telling us those seniors hadn't won a game. That 0-10 as a sophomore, 0-10 as juniors, that was their first game to win. The celebration was so authentic. I mean, they were so happy. And we were so happy for them because they won a game. They broke a 20-game losing streak. That was also your first win there. I mean, how awesome was that?
Man, I don't know if words can even describe it. And that's not just because that was my first win there. It was just all to see the kids celebrate winning that game. You'd have thought we won the state championship or or something like that. So to see those kids get that first win was so important and just made me happy to see them so happy.
Since then, and I remember we talked about it with Coach Kelly. That can't be your Super Bowl. That's just a start. That's one non-conference game. And give you guys credit, the coaching staff, it hasn't. And Sylvan Hills just continue to win and win and win. What, 5-1 now? Is that right? You had
Yes,
the
sir.
one loss to Marion, went to Benton, got a big victory there over Benton, went to El Dorado last week. That was a good win. It's hard to win down there. What has this season been like?
It's been fun. It's been fun to be with the kids each and every day, to see them having fun and believing in what we're doing and what we have going on. Seeing them win, seeing them uh, just become winners and understanding what that looks like and what that feels like. And I feel like we're getting better each and every week, and these guys deserve it. The guy, especially after going 0-20 and sticking around, and they deserve to win. And they're doing their job, and they worked hard all off season too. So I think some of their hard work, a lot of other people are starting to see now.
That's hard to change a program. When a team doesn't know how to win, sometimes it just takes a while for them to learn that they can win a game. How were y'all able to do that?
Just each and every day, Kelly's system and what he believes in and how we practice and what all we do. Um, it's really worked for the guys, and they really bought into what we were doing, especially in the spring and in the off season, and then 7-on-7 and team camps. Not to say we look the best then, but they continue to buy in. They continue to work hard each and every day, and um, we believe, they believed, um, and next thing you know, we're here.
It's an incredible story. It's really one of the top stories in high school football this year, what Sylvan Hills has been able to do. I remember Coach told me in the preseason and after that first game, they were hungry. This
Oh yeah.
team was hungry to win. Okay, they got that taste and they've been fed. How do you keep them? How have you been able to keep them hungry week after week after week, not to get complacent?
Well, after losing so many games, they just enjoy the feeling of winning. Just being able to walk around the school and just feel more confident. Go around town and go different places and know that you're 5-1, um, and knowing that the sky's the limit for you. 5-1 is, like you say, is it's not our Super Bowl yet. It's not our state championship yet, I guess I should have said. But just understanding what you have at stake, and uh, especially with the direction we're headed in now, we might be able to get a playoff. Might be able to get a bye in the playoffs. You just never know what can happen, and we're out. They understand to just go out and play hard each and every game, and one game at a time.
You know who else is hungry that needs a victory?
Who is that?
Arkansas.
Big time.
And I mean, they're just Memphis, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, and then Tennessee's just so close.
I know
If
every
they get
time.
that taste of victory, who knows? What kind of run they could go on.
Well, I think Bobby's usually pretty familiar with Texas A&M, so hopefully he can get the troops going, and like I say, get them to play hard. That's number one. And once you play hard and you're in games late, you just never know what could happen. As you saw, we were a stop away from, uh, I mean, beating Tennessee. I thought Bobby may, and I don't like to criticize any coaches or anything for what they do or what their philosophy is, but I thought Bobby might have should have kicked the field goal earlier in the game, and I think that 3 points kind of came back to haunt us. But that's neither here nor there, and we have Texas A&M coming up, and like I said, if he can get the troops up for the game, I think it'll be a pretty good one.
I hate to argue with an NFL wide receiver and a coach, but man, I love the aggressiveness. I think it's like sending a message. What do you say? We didn't come here to paint. I mean, that's Bobby Petrino right there.
You're right, but when you look at it at the end of the game, it when the game comes down to three and you didn't pick up the 4th and 4, it looks a lot worse and it feels a lot worse. In some situations, I'm with you. I'm all for going for it, but in the situation and at that time in the game, I think I would have kicked the field goal. That's just me though, and I'm an aggressive guy too.
Yeah.
I love being aggressive.
I'm glad you mentioned A&M. Bobby Petrino was 3-0 against A&M. They
Hmm.
just somehow had their number. You had some great games against Texas A&M. What was it about A&M and AT&T Stadium that led to all that success, you think?
Um, I don't know. I wish I really knew. Like you said, we've always had their number. I just felt like we've always been a tougher team. They were in the Big 12 then, so they really didn't play physical football. I would say. So we were just always more aggressive and more physical. Even though we were down 17 at one point, we had to wake up at halftime. But Bobby just has always had their number. He's always been able to understand what they wanted to do to us and just kind of manipulate that and score a lot of points.
Yeah, that's one of those games I'll never forget. Being down at halftime and the second half and that rally, that was incredible. Just the way that Razorback fan base took over AT&T Stadium.
Oh
That
yeah,
second
it
half
was
was great.
electric. That was definitely one of my most memorable moments in football games. Not only because I had a good game, but like you say, just from just the crowd and everybody staying at the game and staying behind us, and just seeing the everybody get rewarded for being great fans.
Jarius, man, this was fun. I really appreciate it. It was good catching up with you, talking to some Razorbacks and Petrino and the Sylvan Hills Bears. Thanks,
Oh yeah,
man. I appreciate it. Best of luck
I,
the rest of the week, too.
I appreciate you having me. Now, thank you.
You bet. It's Jarius Wright joining us on More Sports. Oh, that was fantastic. And Sylvan Hills this week, they'll be at home. It's homecoming. They're hosting West Memphis. And we'll talk some more high school sports right now. The Benton Panthers are the More Sports Team of the Week, and Brad Harris joins us now, head coach of the Benton Panthers. Benton put up, in my estimation, the fourth most points in Arkansas history by scoring 87 against Sheridan the other night. Coach, welcome in. That's quite a night right there.
It was a phenomenal night, Wes. Offensively, it seemed like everything clicked for us, and the guys executed extremely well. I told you the other night that we scored on every possession, but we did miss one possession right before half. I think we got the ball with about 30 seconds left and just tried to probably force it down the field a couple of times, threw a couple of incomplete passes, and then right at the end, we just threw one into the end zone from probably about midfield, and wasn't able to score on that possession, but I think that's pretty efficient, only missing one.
That's it's a game that these kids will talk about forever. You think about it, 20 years from now, they're going to be sitting around with their friends talking about scoring 87 against Sheridan.
Oh, for sure. That's all that's been talked about this weekend is every time I've gone somewhere in Benton, some of the kids talked about it at our Pee Wee football games, and everybody's fired up about scoring 87 points. And like you said, we'll probably still be talking about it for several years after that. And one thing that I've reminded the guys about is this week we've got El Dorado, and that 87 points is not going to help us beat El Dorado, but it is fun to talk about, and it'll be something that the guys can have an awesome memory for the rest of their life as a Benton Panther football player.
It's like a golfer who shoots, like a 59, 58. You see that? And then
Right.
the next day they come out and shoot like a 72. It's hard
Right.
to repeat that. That's the challenge this week to bounce back, not bounce back, but to keep going in the right direction and have a good game.
Sure. For sure. That's one thing we talked about Monday. First thing was, what we did Friday night offensively means absolutely nothing this week. It's kind of like trying to bounce back from the Sylvan Hills loss 2 weeks ago. We've got to put that one behind us and get ready for a new game. It's a new game, a new day, a new opponent. And, we've got to go out and we've got to execute like we did Friday night. I was real proud of what we did from an offensive standpoint. From the second quarter on, we played really good defense. Sheridan did a really good job. Coach Kelly, he does a great job of using some mesh concepts and picks and rubs, and got free, 4 times early. And then we finally made a couple of adjustments and ended up pulling away from them. Offensively, they never thought about stopping us. And then we got a few stops and it started rolling downhill on them. But just real proud of how we executed offensively. And one of the big keys for us, West, is we finally got both of our senior receivers back. We got Will Carter back, who hasn't played really tried to play the Parkview game for just the first quarter. But Bryant game's the first time that we've had Will Carter and Carson Collett together. And both of those guys are really good players. They're both, when they're healthy, are going to run low 4.6 into 4.5s, very savvy route runners. Carson's a little bit more explosive, will take the top off on you, real powerful runner, and Will's just real savvy route runner. That can get away from you, because he runs really well. And they got such a great chemistry with Drew Davis. They've been, playing pitch and catch since they were in the 5th grade together, probably, and they've just got that chemistry. And they've always done a great job. And, you can see a lot of confidence in Drew now, having both of his guys back out there, and we had played and battled against North Little Rock and Parkview and up at Jonesboro without them, and then finally got them back. And it's making a difference for us. And I think that's going to carry us through the rest of the season. We got to keep them healthy. That's a big key for our success.
Let me share some numbers with everybody. Will Carter, 10 catches, 191 yards, 4 touchdowns. Carson Collette had 5 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that looks like over 300 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns between the two. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's 2 good players.
That's a really nice night out of those 2 guys. Drew ended up having eight touchdown passes the other night, lower 400 yards. And Easton Snelling's a sophomore receiver for us. I think he had 5 catches for 77 and 2 touchdowns. But we got Carson back when we started conference play against Jonesboro. And I think Carson had like 10 catches for 148 and 2 touchdowns. And then against Sylvan Hills, he had, I think, 8 catches for about 120. So he's put together 3 weeks in a row of 100 yards or more, having him back. So that's huge for us, and adding Will in the mix. People can't just focus on Carson right now. Makes us very dynamic on offense. And if we can get our run game going just a little bit, that's something we struggle with. We graduated a good running back last year. Then we had a couple of running backs that moved on us that we thought was going to be our guys. And so we're trying to break in a couple of new guys at running back, and senior Gunnar Deaton, who had primarily played defense. And then Brendan Murdoch, a guy that moved over here actually from Bryant. And then we've got a sophomore, C.J. Seller. So we're kind of struggling to get a run game going. But that also goes with we lost 4 senior offensive linemen, and we're playing a lot of young guys up front. But they're starting to get some experience under their belt and feel a lot better in the run game than what we did even 2 weeks ago. We played maybe our best game up front with our 5 up front. And I think that's going to continue to help us throughout the rest of the season.
How would you describe the 6A East?
Well, I think there's a lot of parity in it. There's a lot of balance. I feel like the last couple of years, Wes, we've been a little bit ahead of everybody else. And this year, I think you can throw us, Sylvan Hills, El Dorado, Marion right there at the top, and Jonesboro's tied with us right now. So there's 5 teams that are 2-1 on the year. And I think, on any given night, I think any of those teams can beat anybody. You saw that last week. El Dorado went to, or 2 weeks ago, El Dorado went to Marion and beat them. Sylvan Hills comes to our place and beats us. And then Sylvan goes to El Dorado last week and beats them. In the first week of conference play, Marion beat Sylvan Hills. So everybody's just kind of beat up on everybody so far. Jonesboro still has to play all of those teams. So I think they've got a chance. We went and watched Jonesboro play Pulaski Robinson, and man, that was a tight ball game. It was a 1-point game, and Jonesboro played their tails off. So I think there's 5 teams in our conference that on any given night, it's going to depend on who's playing the best football and who makes the least amount of mistakes. I think it's not like last year. We felt like last year we could have an off night and still win a football game. If we was on, we were mercy ruling somebody, So, and that's kind of what happened last year. We mercy ruled everybody in our conference last year with the exception of Jonesboro, and they played us close all the way in through the 4th quarter. It ended up being a 28-point lead or something like that. But I think there's a lot of balance in the conference this year.
Well, Coach, good luck this week down in El Dorado. You know what'll happen. It'll be like a 13-10 game.
Well, let's hope that we're the 13 then, Wes. Okay, I'll take that win. But it's going to be a good ball game. Coach Hill's got the Wildcats going, man. They're playing really tough defense, and offensively, they've got a really good running back in Jeremy Samuels. Really like him, and then their quarterback Cannon Jacobs, very elusive guy. So we've got a work cut out for us on the defensive end, but it's going to be a fun night in El Dorado.
Coach, thank you. We appreciate it. Congratulations on being the team of the week.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Wes, for having me on. Okay.
Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.